All right, peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. So as you see, today's video is called How America Will Be Destroyed by the Elements. Okay, down here I have 4 different elements: earth, water, smoke, which is wind, and fire. Okay, and we see here a picture of America. As you see, I put an eye right here, so it makes America look like a whale. And America is a whale. Okay, now why did I put this eye right here? Because in a vision, my body was lifted up above America, and I saw that America was a whale-like animal. But it was also a dog-like animal as well. But the scriptures say a lion-like animal. Okay? Let's look at that. In Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 2, notice what it says. Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a whale in the seas. So right here, many people that read this, you may think this is talking about a Pharaoh of old times, but it's not. America represents Egypt. And just as you had many different pharaohs, you have many different presidents. Okay? So the term pharaoh is not a particular pharaoh. Okay? But the president, whoever the president is during this time. Okay? And it says here that Egypt is like what? Is like a young lion. This is what you have here. Okay, you have a face or a head, then you have a tail. It's like a young lion. That means it's not actually a young lion, but its characteristics is like a young lion. Then it says what? And thou art as a whale in the seas. Right here we see a whale. Okay? And if you couldn't have caught this unless you put that eye right there. Now it makes sense, brothers and sisters. Okay? Because I've been given the vision to understand this. Okay, so America is like a whale, but it's also like a lion. And you see the head and then you see the tail. So these are 2 animals in one. America is 2 animals in one. Okay? Let's continue. Now, America is broken up into, North America is broken up into 4 different time zones. You have the Eastern time zone, Central time zone, Mountain time zone, and the Pacific time zone. Okay? There are going to be 4 different judgments upon America according to the time zone, according to the region in which you are living in. Okay? Obviously, on the eastern side, it says we have the earth. Matter of fact, let's go back. Okay? If you're living on the East Coast or in the eastern region, it's going to be a major earthquake. It's going to be a major earthquake. The tail is going to shake. Okay? The tail is not literally going to shake, but there's going to be an earthquake due to the mountain ranges that exist on the East Coast. Okay? If you live in the Central America, right? If you live in this central area, you're going to deal with the waters running dry. Okay? Rivers is going to be polluted. Rivers is going to dry up. Okay? We'll still have water, right? Water will be shipped in, but a lot of the water in this area is going to run dry. Okay? If you live in the mountain area, you're going to deal with volcano eruptions. And from those volcano eruptions, you're going to be dealing with smoke. Okay? Smoke asphyxiation, which is basically breathing in toxic chemicals, toxic air, And this is how some people will die. Okay. Then if you live on the western coast or the Pacific coast, you're going to be dealing with wildfires. There's going to be a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay. Let's get into it. Now, the Appalachian Mountains, this is the Appalachian Mountain ranges along the East Coast. Just recently, we had an earthquake, right? I think it was right before the solar eclipse, or right after the solar eclipse, there was an earthquake. Okay? There's going to be a major earthquake on the East Coast, brothers and sisters. Now, look at what these headlines say. More than a dozen quakes in 30 days. What's going on in the southern Appalachians? Okay, now this was in January of 2021. Okay. It says more than a dozen earthquakes have rattled the southern Appalachian region in the past month. Okay. Imagine that. A dozen earthquakes in 30 days. That's basically an earthquake every other day. Okay. Notice what this headline say. Experts warn of possible East Coast earthquakes. Okay. The last major earthquake hit near Charleston in 1886. After two back-to-back earthquakes in California, could the Southeast get hit with a major earthquake? Experts say it is possible. The last major earthquake was in Orangeburg, South Carolina on August 31st, 1886. It's commonly referred to as the Charleston earthquake. Its impact was felt down through Savannah. Savannah, they're talking about Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. This whole area right here, brothers and sisters, is going to be affected with an earthquake. Okay, that tail is going to shake. Okay. Let's continue. Now we're dealing with the body of water. Look at that. We were just dealing with the tail, right? As you see the tail over here. Then you have the body of water. Look how perfect this is. Look at the body of water. Then you got the head or the face. This is perfect. This is perfect anatomy, brothers and sisters. Okay? It's perfect anatomy. Notice what the scripture says in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 15. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the seven streams, and make men go over dry shod. Okay, these seven streams, brothers and sisters, most likely they're speaking of the Missouri River, the Platte River, the Arkansas River, the Red River, Mississippi River, Tennessee River, and the Ohio River. Okay? What's going to happen, brothers and sisters, is the land is going to dry up. These rivers are going to run dry. And it's already happening right now. Look up, the Mississippi River is drying up. There's many rivers, brothers and sisters. The Tennessee River is drying up. All these rivers mentioned on here are drying up. And what's going to happen is this water is going to run dry. Okay? When this water runs dry, there will be an exodus taking place. So anybody talking about an exodus, there's no exodus until this happens. Okay? There's no exodus until this happens, brothers and sisters. Notice what it says, Isaiah chapter 27, verse 12. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt. And ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. This is the Exodus. When those waters run dry, that's when it's going to take place. Okay? Isaiah chapter 19, verse 5 through 8. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up, and they shall turn the rivers away. Now, why did I highlight that part? Look over here. It says drought-stricken West looks to Mississippi River to solve water woes. Okay? Now notice what it says here. Images from the NASA Earth Observatory released in early July focused on the northern arm of Lake Mead and its decline from 2000 until now. As western states are being asked for solutions to keep Lake Mead and Lake Powell from hitting critical low points, there is more talk about what it would take to pump water from the Mississippi River to the western states as well. So what are they trying to do? Because the West Coast is dealing with drought, they want to take water from the Mississippi River and bring it to the West Coast. So this part that I have highlighted, and they shall turn the rivers away. That's exactly what they're trying to do. That's their solution to this problem. Take the water from the Mississippi River and let's turn it onto the West Coast. That's what's going to happen. They're going to come up with a plan to take the water of the Mississippi River and bring it to the West Coast. But all this is going to do is cause the waters to dry up even more. Okay? And the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and the flags shall wither. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament. And they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Why are the fishers going to mourn? Because the water is going to be dried up, which means the fishes is going to die. Okay? Let's continue. If you live in the mountain area of America, you are going to be dealing with volcano eruptions. Okay? A volcano cloud will cover the heavens, sun, moon, and stars. Okay, we already dealt with Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 2. But let's read Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 7 and 8. It says this, and when I put thee out, I will cover the heaven and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land, saith the Lord God. Now, how is the Lord going to cover the sun, moon, and stars? He says he's going to do it with a cloud. He says, I will cover the sun with a cloud. The cloud that can make this possible, brothers and sisters, is an ash cloud from a volcano eruption. Okay, this already happened in the past. Look here. 200 years ago, half of the world went dark. The Tambora volcano in what is now Indonesia blew its top in April 1815, killing more than 60,000 people and turning the summer into winter across much of the northern hemisphere. So imagine that, brothers and sisters, a volcano is going to erupt. And when this volcano erupts, you see this cloud right here? This cloud of smoke, ash, and dust is going to be so thick that it's going to block out the light from the sun, the moon, and the stars. And think about this, can go on for days. The weather is going to be impacted because of this. The weather can change from summer to winter just like that. Think about that, brothers and sisters. This is how the Lord is going to cover the sun, moon, and stars. He's going to do it with a cloud from a volcano. Okay? In 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted. Look what it says. Between March 16, 1980 and May 18, 1980, U.S. Geological Survey scientists watched Mount St. Helens in Washington closely. The mountain was rocked by some 10,000 earthquakes over that time, and its north face grew a 140-meter bulge due to rising magma. When the volcano erupted on May 18th, a rising column of ash and sulfuric gas was released into the atmosphere. Areas like Spokane, Washington, 250 miles from the blast site, were engulfed in near complete darkness by the eruption's ash cloud, and visible ash blocked the sun as far away as 930 miles east in the Great Plains. It took 3 days for the ash cloud to spread across the nation, and 15 for it to encircle the globe. If this already happened before, brothers and sisters, you can expect for it to happen again. There's going to be a volcano eruption, and this volcano eruption is going to cause a cloud of ash and dust to rise up, and it's going to block out the sun, moon, and stars. Okay? And this is going to put America in darkness, brothers and sisters. Okay? Now, how is this going to happen? Notice what this says. Putin cheerleaders make threat to nuke Yellowstone supervolcano and unleash hell on the U.S. Yellowstone, brothers and sisters, is a supervolcano existing right here. Okay, if we go back to my original picture, Yellowstone is right in this area. Okay, and so what is going to happen is, if Putin, notice what it says, Putin allies on Russian state TV have threatened to blow up the Yellowstone supervolcano with a Satan #2 nuke. I believe Putin is going to do this. And I believe this is how it's going to happen. I believe the Lord is going to use Putin to fulfill Ezekiel chapter 32, verse 7 and 8. This is how he's going to cover, this is how that cloud is going to cover the sun, moon, and stars. If Putin nukes Yellowstone, and why would he nuke Yellowstone? Because he knows that will trigger a volcano eruption. So if he nukes Yellowstone, it's going to trigger volcano eruption, and that cloud, it's a super volcano, brothers and sisters. So that if that eruption happens because of Putin nuking Yellowstone, it's going to cause a scene just like this. And it's going to cover the entire America, brothers and sisters. Okay? And I believe this is exactly how prophecy is going to be fulfilled. Putin is going to nuke Yellowstone. Okay? Just for the fact that they put this out there on the internet. This is going to happen, brothers and sisters. Okay? So you need to be aware of that. Okay? And lastly, we have the West Coast, the Pacific Coast. The Pacific Coast is going to be dealt with wildfires. It's already happened. Look at this, current wildfires all along the West Coast. All along the West Coast, brothers and sisters. Over here we have a map of thermal springs in the United States. Notice how majority of all the thermal springs is where? On the West Coast. See that? All the thermal springs. And what's thermal? Thermal is heat, fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So all these thermal springs, that means, brothers and sisters, the West Coast is very hot. And what's going to happen on the West Coast, it's going to be a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah event. that's going to take place on the West Coast, brothers and sisters. You see all this famine fire now. People are evacuating the West Coast because of all these wildfires. Go on YouTube right now and put in West Coast is burning. You're going to see a video for all these different states on the West Coast and how they have these wildfires. Okay? Along with thermal springs, it's going to be a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah on the West Coast, brothers and sisters. So, that's all to my video. Okay? The East Coast is going to be triggered by a major earthquake. Central or the Midwestern area, it's going to be dealing with the rivers running dry, just like you have in Flint, Michigan. The waters is going to be polluted. The waters is going to run dry. And that doesn't mean we won't have water, but the rivers will run dry. Then in the mountain area, you're going to be dealing with a volcano eruption. And on the West Coast, the Pacific area, wildfires, thermal springs, modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? So, hopefully you learned something from this study. And until next time, brothers and sisters, peace.